from Washington, this is VOA News. NATO foreign ministers consider possible Syrian chemical weapons. France legalizes gay marriage. I'm Ray Kugel reporting from Washington. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says NATO must consider how it would respond if chemical weapons are used in Syria. At a NATO foreign ministers meeting in Brussels, Secretary Kerry said neither he nor Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu can confirm Israeli military intelligence reports that Syria has used chemical weapons against rebels, including possible nerve gas. But Mr. Kerry said the allegations must be thoroughly investigated. NATO Secretary General Anders Fogh Rasmussen expressed the alliance's concern.
We can all see that the situation in Syria is getting worse, and we cannot ignore the risks of a regional spillover with possible implications for Allied security.
Syria has rejected a request by the UN to allow inspectors into the country to investigate claims Syria is using chemical weapons. The United States is accusing two Lebanese foreign exchange companies of laundering millions of dollars for drug traffickers and Hezbollah militants. VOA's Meredith Buell reports.
The U.S. Treasury named the two Lebanese firms as primary money laundering concerns under the Patriot Act, which allows for identifying foreign companies that may be laundering money and supporting terrorism. David Cohen is the Treasury Department's Undersecretary for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence.
We have taken this action because Remedy Exchange and Halawi Exchange use their money exchange businesses to move millions of dollars annually on behalf of narcotics traffickers and money launderers.
U.S. officials say the money laundering scheme involved cocaine from South America that was transported through West Africa and sold in Europe. They say funds were then laundered through the Lebanese exchange companies and wired to banks in the United States and other countries. Meredith Buell, VOA News, Washington.
Two victims of the Boston Marathon bombers were laid to rest Tuesday. 8-year-old Martin Richard was remembered at a private funeral service. He died last Monday waiting for his father to cross the marathon's finish line. His mother and younger sister were seriously wounded. Also remembered Tuesday was Sean Collier, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology security officer, who was gunned down 3 days after the bombings while the suspects were on the run from police. 2 others were also killed by the bombs. 19-year-old bombing suspect Dzhokhar Tsarnaev is charged with using a weapon of mass destruction. He is under federal custody in a Boston hospital. His older brother, Tamerlan, was killed in a police shootout. 2 men charged in Canada with plotting a terrorist attack have appeared in separate courts. Authorities say they plan to attack a Toronto area passenger train with the support of al-Qaeda elements in Iran. U.S. federal prosecutors have dropped charges against a Mississippi man suspected of sending poisoned letters to President Obama and to a U.S. senator. A lawyer for Paul Kevin Curtis says investigators have turned their attention to another suspect whose house they have already searched. The attorney says investigators could find no evidence that Curtis was involved in sending the ricin-laced letters. A false report of explosions at the White House and injuries to President Obama sent U.S. stocks plunging Tuesday before they recovered quickly after it was declared a hoax. The Associated Press says hackers broke into its Twitter account. A group calling itself the Syrian Electronic Army is claiming responsibility for the cyber attack. The claim, however, has not been verified. France became the 9th European country to legalize homosexual marriage when the country's National Assembly passed a bill Tuesday on same-sex marriages and adoptions. It brings an end to months of bitter debate. Lisa Bryant has more from Paris.
Après 136 heures et 46 minutes de débat,
as lawmakers cheered, France's lower house adopted the Marriage for All legislation on second reading, with 331 lawmakers voting for the bill and 225 against. Past passage of the gay marriage bill was a foregone conclusion, but it has drawn surprisingly strong opposition, with protests gathering tens and sometimes hundreds of thousands of people. Many observers believe the demonstrations underscore a broader anger against French President François Hollande and his socialist government. Lisa Bryant for VOA News, Paris.
I'm Ray Kugel, VOA News. Details on these and other stories on our website at voanews.com.